cheaters are ruining Warzone, but most people don't know how bad it really is. Today, we take a look behind the curtain and discuss the secrets no one wants to tell you. Believe it or not, there's actually a lot to talk about whenever it comes to the cheating situation in Warzone. Most people believe that, oh, cheaters are just cheating and ricochet just doesn't work, but that's simply not the case. There's actually a lot more to it, and today I want to discuss that at length. I also want to answer some community questions, whether or not it's my audience or just the audience at large, as well as just have a lot of conversation about different things happening, including pro players being banned, people that I fight against cheating, some different Reddit questions, as well as checking out some cheaters from recent YouTube videos. So off rip, you can see that we're over on X or Twitter or whatever the hell you want to call it, and we're looking at a tweet from KLG sub 1KD. Now this guy is incredibly intelligent. He has been behind the scenes with a lot of this stuff and knows a lot about development and basically anything you can think of within this space. And he pays attention to quite a lot of stuff. And he says, looks like at Call of Duty, and by the way, this is May 9th. I know we're 20 days back, but we're going to slowly get up to date and you'll see why in a second. Looks like Call of Duty might have pushed out a Ricochet update this morning. Lots of cheap providers are offline right now. So clearly Ricochet updates, and you can see, you know, whatever the hell this is, updating, they're needing to update their stuff. Fatality, whatever this is getting updated. You can see hypervision, which by the way is if I'm not wrong, phantom overlays sold cheats to this new provider, and so all of their old cheats that got shut down are now with this company. I'm not 100% certain on that, but I just wanted to show you, you can see that like updates do go out for Ricochet and things change just a little bit, you know, like they obviously are like tweaking things behind the scenes. Hey there, Editor Expel here. First of all, if you haven't already, just hit the damn subscribe button on the channel. All right, stop wasting time with it. Anyway, back to the video. On May 16th, I say underneath this, F the lobby surfers, because what this is it says, please be advised of this new scam website going around, Warzone Agent, which is the thing that allows you to see all the players in your lobby. And I personally am very much against this. It's not available anymore, and we don't offer websites to track lobbies. So you cannot see within lobbies without getting some kind of software, which by the way, I firmly believe should get you banned, in my personal opinion, using something like Warzone Agent, which again is something that allows you to see the KD of every player, and a lot of other stuff, to be quite honest. There's other things that came with it, and it can get packaged with cheats and stuff like that. I don't think that's okay. I think it's a little weird, at least to see it in real time. I do think that there should be the ability to have backend API so that you know who you fight in your lobbies after the fact, but during the fact, it's a little weird to lobby surf and use that to get the easiest lobbies and stuff like that. But I digress on that. Next up, on May 24th, so we're obviously getting a little bit more up to date. Exclusive chats leaked by Happa, who is a, I don't know what you want to call him, but he used to cheat. I'll just put it that way. So he's well known within the cheating community. Shows a hypervision ban wave, or maybe hypervision was the one that had it sold by Phantom Overlay. But it says exclusive chats leaked by its Happa shows a hypervision ban wave in progress. Hypervision still showing undetected might be a result of the timing. It's Saturday night in Europe, it's Saturday night in Europe, Saturday morning in the US, a time where devs are generally off and therefore not prepared to deal with the detection. If Microsoft moves to a 24/7 development window versus the traditional 9 to 5 window, which I think, by the way, is a great idea. Obviously, you need to pay them well for working those hours. And I'm not saying they should work 24 hours a day. I'm saying different shifts, different money. You know what I'm saying? Does that... Okay. It'll strain on the cheat devs, which will cut down on cheats through sheer attrition. So you can see right here, Hypervision, Undetected, Black Ops 6, DMA in development, Hypervision, Modern Warfare 3. And then you move over and a bunch of these guys are saying they're banned and they got detected. I didn't even receive a shadow ban at the speed of light. I was immediately banned. No rage and no other provider, just hyper on my alt, unlock tool. Like, they're just asking questions, trying to figure out what's going on. Once your account gets permabanned, it's GG's. Don't fall into scams that tell you they can get you unbanned. Well, main got permanently banned. Sad day. I've ran with that account for so long. I'm hurt. Like, first of all, y'all are a bunch of losers if you're cheating in a video game. If it, like, especially one of the easiest video games to learn, if you put half as much time as you put into cheating, like, it's such a goofy thing to do. Estee Random, this guy is talking about being top 250 Huskers. Like, what? I don't know what's going on, but basically a bunch of people are getting banned using this. And I mean, it's just one of those things that it sucks that they can get back so very quickly, but a lot of these cheat providers, they do get detected over time, and it's a head-to-head battle, right? Ricochet will figure it out, but then the cheat developers will figure it out on the other side. So it's literally just like, can we do it? We got it. And then they're back up within a certain amount of time. And actually, you can see that exact thing happening at the beginning of Verdansk. Verdansk had such a large update to Ricochet that it basically took multiple weeks for the cheat developers to figure out what the hell was going on. Now it seems like we're kind of building back up to being, even in, I hate to say it, the worst cheating situation we've had since the original Verdansk. And you won't hear me say that a lot. That is not something that I believe happens in most cases. In fact, a lot of people used to say in Urzikstan was the worst cheating situation. No. Like, they would say in this map, this was the worst, this was the worst. I think a good way to gauge it is by how many rage hackers you're running into, because there's always going to be people that are trying to basically swindle the system by not going super hard with their cheats, not rage hacking. But right now, there's a lot of people that can just blatantly rage hack and get away with it. And I actually had a tweet talking about this exactly. And we're gonna get into this a little bit later. But someone responded, and we're still talking about whether or not Ricochet is working, and they said, no offense, but almost every legit provider is detected or down. This is just in response to what I said. How can it be at an all-time high with SLL? The respect. I don't know what that means. I think you may have forgotten about Warzone 1 when engine owning had silent aim and there were no number verifications yet. And I do follow up on this. Again, we're going to get to it. I think this guy has an incredibly solid point. This is not something that I normally would go ahead and say. And you guys know that. I am not one to be like, cheating is at an all-time high. I don't say stuff like that. I say the cheating situation sucks. We talk about cheating quite a bit because it is a constant battle, but I will never just go and say cheating is at an all-time high. I've always been the guy to say, actually, OG Verdansk is way ahead of what we have now. But I don't know, man. I don't know. So you can see that we have some providers, which you have Amex cheats undetected, proof core detected, synthetic skill detected, crooked. And I'm not saying this to get you guys to go and, you know, purchase cheats. Please, for the love of God, don't. You're a fucking loser if you do. But my point is he shows all of these different cheat providers that are down. Right? Completely detected or this, that, or the other thing. So I respond and I say, so I've just had a conversation with a rage hacker after dying to him. I'm being told there's been a recent uptick in Russian companies pushing cheats through Discords. I have the name of the cheat provider that I'm not willing to share publicly. My audience is too large, but they're undetected right now. And the guy rage hacking hasn't even been put in limited matchmaking. LM. I've been calling it LLM and it's LMM. I don't know why I keep doing that. After my report, either. It's been 4 days and he's still doing it on the same account from what I can tell him. We'll get to that later as well. Russian can only be this one. This is one provider of all of those above. Currently, it's not that many cheaters as everyone thinks. It's EOMM and skill-based matchmaking put in a person of high KD in lobbies where you meet the cheaters more often, but in general, it's nowhere near Warzone 1 and Genoning Rain. Now, that's actually an incredible point. Like I said, he's saying it could be that. And I think right now, in my personal opinion, cheating is in a weird spot, okay? And the reason why is because it's going to actively affect players that are better more than it's going to affect players that are worse. And it's because so many cheats are actually and this isn't like a poor me or anything like that. For the love of God, that is not what I'm trying to say. I am happy to deal with it if it keeps the audience happy, like the regular audience happy from cheaters. But the issue is people are kind of lost on what cheating is, what it looks like. And a lot of people just generally cannot tell. Just to be clear, there's just a lot of confusion around that, but I will happily deal with it on the other side. So let me see if I can find my tweet. So I said right here, I say, I have a theory, one that I had back in Warzone 1 Verdansk. Because the cheaters are often making it much longer without getting banned, most being level 200 plus, I'm thinking it's a problem of skill-based matchmaking. I actually said this I think right before the other guy said it, or before I had seen what that guy said. So we basically were on the same wavelength with that, because so many people are saying, oh, I'm not seeing cheaters, I'm not seeing cheaters, I'm not seeing cheaters. But I have a freaking 6 ED ratio. Look at this. I have a 6 ED ratio. You can only imagine that in most scenarios, I'm going to be playing against players that are ridiculously good. And when I play duos with someone with a similar KD or a similar ED, they also... It's like maxing out the skill over and over and over. In fact, to the point to where if I was to stream, the reason that I just like, one, don't have interest in that is because it just doesn't make sense time-wise. But also, like, there is so much downtime in between my games right now that I've considered streaming like once a month, but it would take forever to get into a match. Like literally, it's like 5 minutes for me to get into a match. I don't use a VPN. I don't 2-box. I don't do anything. I don't even know what the other stuff is right now, but I don't do anything. There's nothing extra for my matchmaking, but it takes me 5 minutes to get into a match every single time. And it's because my elimination death ratio is so high, because my skill level is so high that I just can't find a match. So to go back to what we were talking about, you can see right here, I'm likely seeing way more right now because it's people that have gone undetected for a long time, and cheats that have also gone undetected for quite a long time, people not getting banned. And they're getting thrown in higher tier lobbies because the game just thinks they're good. My confusion is why the AI detection they just announced that estimates the chances of cheating isn't doing anything with these guys. I'm repeatedly seeing very clear soft aim through walls, or I don't know what the hell you want to call it, people just not having it set up right to where it'll be like going past me and then snap back to my body. It's super weird that I keep seeing that. It's not something that happens with spectating. I'll explain that in a little bit as well. I'm repeatedly seeing soft aim through walls, so why isn't it seeing it as well? Isn't even on. Side note, basically a surefire way of knowing if someone is using soft aim is, and it might not be actually called soft aim, but my point is some kind of like aim locking mechanism, is when they cross over your body through walls. If it sticks for a split second, especially when you're running opposite of their turning, then it's likely cheats. Either way, this is all getting a bit ridiculous. Based on Steam charts alone, it could be just me experiencing this. I bet people using common cheats aren't getting past a few games, and the reason it's so bad for me is because I'm not getting novice cheaters that often. Such is life. As long as the player base stays healthy, I can deal with this. Just gonna keep a sniper in my hand to be able to chow these guys. So a lot of the times, and in this situation with this, which we're about to hop into, I actually was using a Cypher as well as, I think, a Ladra, if I'm not wrong. So because I was using a Cypher and a Ladra, I can't quickly like get on target. If you know anything about being a good player, a lot of it comes down to being able to have good centering and being able to quickly get on target. Whoever gets on target fastest and gets shots on fastest, knowing that there's going to be a low time to kill, like a very fast time to kill, whoever gets there first is clearly going to get the elimination unless they track terribly. So if you have something like a sniper and you know how to aim, you know how to always stay centered right around the chest, keep your, instead of looking at the ground, you want to look kind of like up towards the center of their chest so that you're on target, you can at least hit one shot. Or if you can do those micro movements because you've set up your sensitivity properly, then you can hit that headshot quickly. So if you have that, it's a little bit easier to fight cheaters because those guys are also incredibly fast, even though it has nothing to do with their skill or, you know, learned muscle memory, basically. So with that said, let's kind of take a look at what's going on here. So I wanted to take a look at this right here because I got a little upset. I said cheating is officially nearing an all-time high in Warzone, which again is not something I would normally say. It's one of these. It's one thing to see these. God, I can't speak. It's one thing to see things like this in ranked when they're getting something out of it, but I'm starting to see things like this every other game. Now, I will note it slowed down quite a bit after this. This was like a 2-day spurt where stint that it just got super weird. Like, it felt like every other game we were running into somebody, and it was really making it a struggle, especially knowing that normally with a sniper, I'd be able to combat this. But because during this day, I needed to get a Cypher video, I was using an SMG and an AR. So I couldn't hit those quick headshots to get these guys out of there. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. Video is in 4K. Pull it up and let's listen to what I have to say. And by the way, you can also see I have a hand cam right there. I do it a lot on my second channel, Expel Plus. So if you're ever wondering like, hey, it looks like he's using a mouse or keyboard. Usually what I'm doing, actually, if you see my arm doing this, in 99% of scenarios, it's either me readjusting or more likely is I'm hitting a button to zoom on my stream deck. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? So you'll see that quite a bit from me. But either way, let's go ahead and check it out.
Literally, is that you? Almost
Up
died.
top now? Oh, so off rip, I want to pay attention to what happened here. So I had actually gone up a zip. There was a player right here that flew off, landed on there. When he jumped and he dove over, I decided, and by the way, he was standing right here shooting at the guy over there because he was focused on that. I decided to take the zip up, get a high ground position, and start fighting him. I crack him, okay? And he's right there on the left. He doesn't move. I drop down, still not moved. You can see it at the top left. Not moving, still can't see him, I put a wall between him and I. I turn around, and for about a second, was able for him to see me. That singular second, it was able for him to see me. I dove, taking my body from being like this to being like this, and he hit a perfect headshot on me flying doing that. Already like, whoa, that's kind of crazy. So I land in and I'm like, oh, look at my face right here. Pipe.
Where did he kill you from?
Immediately, I was a little concerned, right? I was like, wait a second, something don't seem right. Something doesn't seem right. And to be fair, today, during that day, not today, but during that day, it had been like over and over, like multiple people. I just ran into like this rage hacker the day before. And then that day, it was like every other game. I was like, what? That's so weird. What is going on? And you can kind of recognize these things. The more that you learn how it works, the more that you see things like this. And for me, I play 8 hours a day on most days so that I can get content for my main channel and for my second channel, Expel Plus. So because of those things, I have had to learn so much. This has been over the course of 5 years. I've learned what everything looks like. This isn't like I hop in for the first time and I'm like, look, there's gotta be cheating. I've learned a lot about how this works, right? So let's keep looking. Now, I immediately, and this is something that if you're a good player, and this is kind of a tips and tricks thing right here, I put a wall between this guy and me. I heard that he was flying, and I'll let you listen to it as well. You hear him land. Well, I don't know if you hear him flying, but
where did he kill you from?
You hear it it's so quiet. It is so quiet, and that's why I always recommend open back headphones, is because you have a wider sound floor and you can hear things a little bit easier. But I hear it, and I get up, and you hear him land right there. Now, what I did is that, well, first of all, I know that I have a gulag, but I need to get my friend Pipe back. So I put a wall between that guy and me for a split second. I hit this on the way through sliding, and I jumped the wall immediately. Dude. And I died fast. And don't get me wrong, I don't have any plates. I understand. But it's just like the speed at which he's on target feels kind of crazy, because it was about a half a second between me hitting that and me jumping the wall. So let's check out the kill cam. Dude, Pipe.
Yeah. I know.
So this guy drops down. He's aiming to the left. He saw me, by the way. I would like to note that. He saw me on the right. He's aiming to the left. And immediately when he saw me on the right, he flicks over to the right. Now watch what happens here. It doesn't just scan over me like he's gonna like he's gonna go to the left, right? It doesn't just scan over me like he's gonna go to the left thinking that I'm gonna wrap around to the left, right? It goes there and it stops on my body for a split second. And then it tracks back on my body. And you'll see this again in slow motion in just a second. But let's watch this through. Stops. And it tracks back, flicks back to my body, tracks me perfectly to the right as I'm on the right. Now, of course, don't get me wrong, I report very quickly. And again, I recognize things like this in the moment because it is my job whenever I'm playing this to have my brain go incredibly fast with stuff like this so that I can see every micro detail. People say, Expel, how do you see this? How do you see this? How do you see this? First of all, I play in 4K, but also it's literally what I do. I look at every micro movement. I pay attention to every little detail. And sure, every once in a while I might miss something, but when I'm really locked in, I'm not missing a damn thing. So, oh my fucking God, the number of cheaters in this game. This was like the 5th time today, just to be clear, that day. So let's check it out. Slow motion. Watch. Remember what I said. He flicks to the right, starts coming back to the left, stops on my body, right? Stops on my body, then keeps going. He flicks back to the right, goes past my body, flicks back to the left, straight to my head, tracks me around. Watch this in real time. Stop, keep going. Flick back, flick left, and then tracks me perfectly before I came out. Let's watch that one more time. On my body, back, flicks back again, tracks me perfectly before I ever came out behind the wall. And a lot of people got confused with this. First of all, I always know that people are gonna say he's not cheating. Right, so I'm gonna follow up and say, I recognize kill cams are buggy, but twice this guy passed over my body through a wall and it stuck onto me. This isn't something that happens naturally, nor is it aim assist. This is soft aim or some other kind of fucking cheat. I've seen it about 5 to 10 times today alone. Ricochet is off, and Ricochet wasn't off. Ricochet is just not detecting specific cheat providers. And that's the issue. And also, the AI system doesn't properly work in Warzone from what I can tell, because these guys don't have enough data over the course of a specific amount of time. My guess, at least, is that what's happening is the way the AI system works is that it kind of counts how much time you're on target, like a percentage. And if you're above that percentage, they'll throw you in limited matchmaking, and then they'll check your account to see if you've got this, that, or the other thing. So my guess is that in multiplayer it works because all the time you're going into gunfights. But in Warzone, for you to look at someone through a wall and for them to accumulate a specific percentages of you doing something that looks like it's cheating to the AI, you're just not getting enough time for that. So that downtime is not allowing the AI to recognize that it's cheating like, you know, a seasoned veteran player would be able to recognize. So the AI can't recognize at the same pace as someone that's really good at the game. And I'm not saying that I'm the best, but I am really good to recognize things like this. So again, I have this detailed explanation. So we're gonna run through it real quick because a lot of people were very upset with the fact that I even said this guy was cheating every single time a content creator. And look, I get it. It just feels like something incredibly dumb. But every time a content creator says somebody's cheating, there's always these contrarians that hop in and they want to say, no. Because if these guys that are contrarians often say someone is cheating, but the reality is, sadly, they're probably not. And it's because most people just really don't know how to recognize these things. And it's not like I'm personally trying to be like, no, you're a dumbass. That's not the point. The point is that you genuinely don't have enough time in something to recognize the small details. It's like going up to, I don't know, like LeBron or something and trying to say that someone that plays basketball with their kids knows as much as him about basketball. And I'm not comparing myself to LeBron, but my point is like time spent. I'm comparing time spent doing things like this. So I gave a detailed explanation. I've had to dive into a lot of different things to be able to give proper information in my tips content, or even just know how to get more wins for myself. That's aim assist, kill cams, etc. With each of those, I do my best to learn them inside and out. I learn the way they work, what's broken with them, any bugs that can lead to misinterpretation, etc. With aim assist, I've actually gone into private matches and tested all kinds of different ways to see when and how it pulls or slows on an enemy. I've also dove deep into content from Hexsmith, even asking him questions in DMs, by the way, to make sure that I'm getting things correct. which is super informative. His content is. I've done multiple videos on aim assist, gone in depth on how people can activate it, committed 99% of that to memory, and even forced my hands over a long period of time to have the muscle memory to pretty much always activate it, which just means always moving and always trying to move the same direction as your enemy and stuff like that. The more you think about it, the better you get at it, and that's kind of what's really important here. With that said, I've done even more with spectating, which works the same as kill cams. Both of these are recreations of what happens. They have specific inaccuracies that are well known, especially after making hundreds of videos of spectating. I listed those in a tweet in the past, and while they may still be just as inaccurate, there's more information on the side to know if something more was happening. So real quick, what we're gonna do is we're gonna dive in up here and check out the kill cam, which by the way, says literally nothing about being live ping, showing up on UAV, nothing. There was no more information than just saying attacker. So to come back down here, when watching kill cams, I do my best to try and learn from the engagement. How did this guy know my location? What's the skill level of this player? What weapon is he using? Where are his teammates? Every kill cam is a learning opportunity. It gives me more information and lets me know how to engage that player when I see them next, as when I play, I'll memorize the skins of good players, and when I happen upon them, I can be more cautious. A lot of people really think that there's like a lot of people that cheat, like content creators, streamers, and I'm not saying there's not people that cheat. There absolutely are. We're going to get into that in a little bit. But I also think people don't recognize the speed at which you can fire off these things in your brain. The more that you learn about every single thing, it becomes muscle memory. It becomes like something that is second nature to you as a person. The more that you do something, everything gets like that. Imagine, and I have done this before, imagine working in a factory and just getting muscle memory. I worked in a mattress spring factory. And when I first started, I would be super slow and I couldn't get the timing right. I'd like mischop things, like there was certain things that messed up and we'd have to go through at the end of the night and fix it. But at some point I didn't miss anything because I just knew. And I like for 8 hours, I just spin this thing around and chop off all the little metal pieces that I needed to chop off. And I wouldn't get it wrong at all. There might be one inaccuracy in like hundreds of these that I would do throughout the night. And you can do that exact same thing with a video game. It's a video game. It's probably easier to do it there. So every kill cam is a learning opportunity, yada, yada, yada. When you combine the two of those, you know a few things. Aim assist can look snappy in kill cams. That's one thing that we've recognized. And there's no recoil in kill cams usually. Those are the two things that are pretty much the most important whenever it comes to kill cams, including aim assist. But there are some limitations to even those bugs and what you see in that kill cam. And I've come to recognize pretty instantly, and I've come to recognize pretty instantly is when something surpasses those limitations. There's no additional information and they do something that's 90% plus likely to be cheating. In the video, I was surprised that a guy who I could no longer see after fighting, then turned around after he may have heard me flying off a building I was engaging from, but without seeing me, because I put a wall between him and I, as I always do to keep cover, sniped me first shot while I was diving off a roof the instant I came into his view. This is within a second, all that within a second. Not a confirmation in any sense, but a little weird and something to keep in mind. And all of this kind of adds up over time. After I'm on the ground, I take note of that, trying to constantly put walls between him and I. If you watch the kill cam, you can see beside my camera, this guy didn't have me live tagged. Assuming he heard me pushing for the buy, he would have looked that way. But there was one issue. His aim locked me through the wall for a split second, not once, but twice. At 38 seconds, he was swaying his aim to the left. This in itself is weird, seeing as he would naturally be expecting me to purchase my teammate, which by the way, his team eliminated, or even be putting distance between us. During that turn, he literally pauses on my character halfway through. See, aim assist, especially through walls, when it doesn't exist, doesn't work in the first place, or it doesn't work like that in the first place. It won't pause when you're turning one way and the player is running the opposite direction. It'll maybe slow down for a split second, but it won't pause and start tracking backwards, which is what his did. It's too much to catch, so instead it'll slow down around the area of the character while you graze over them. He full stopped right on my body through the wall. That's not something that just happens. Okay, so is that a confirmation for me? Nope. At 39 seconds, he corrects his aim to go where I will be pushing naturally, but instead of just holding and waiting for me to cross, which is what every single pro player will do, he goes back to my body as I'm about to enter his line of sight, tracks my upper body perfectly before I'm running out, and holds it on my character. So in all, what happened was this. Hit an insanely improbable shot, broke the physics of aim assist through a wall to pause on my body when aiming somewhere that wouldn't make sense anyway, adjusted his aim again only to snap backward to me before I came out from behind a wall and reacted with superhuman timing to me coming out from behind the wall to hit the kill shot. When I see that many things in one kill cam, I confirm my suspicion and leave the rest up to Ricochet by sending a report. Frankly, I can explain every single one of my reports just like that. I don't just spam report for no reason. I go through a ton of stuff in my head based on the experience I've garnered over years of Call of Duty, speaking to cheaters, and learning what to look for. And after saying this, not many people argued, because if you look at that and you recognize all the little things that I mentioned, then you can see clearly that that guy was cheating. Now, we did have a guy that responded to this and said it's not that bad with an eye-rolling face, showing that he had a lot of people getting thrown in limited matchmaking. And I responded to that and I said, kind of just impressed you're getting confirmations of limited matchmaking. I've reported 2 blatant rage hackers and no confirmation for either one, not to mention the dozen others that were clearly using soft aim. And I will note, funny enough, that I even reported those people directly to Activision. Like, I have someone in my DMs from Call of Duty. A lot of people think this is kind of funny. We don't really talk outside of this. He did get me into DreamHack, which, by the way, thank you so much. I appreciate the hell out of that. But I reached out to him. I said, hey, this is their name. This is a clip. Send it to Ricochet. And they did. And guess what? I have not gotten a confirmation in weeks at this point, I guess. At least over a week, you know? So it's a little crazy to see stuff like that. And aside from that, I do want to showcase the YouTube video that I had recently talking about these cheaters. And then finally, we're going to get into some Reddit cheating questions because I know a lot of people get confused on how things work. So I really wanted to dive into that in just a moment. So OffRoad, let's go ahead and take a look at this right here. Now, I hopped in and I had a lot of people saying that this first guy wasn't cheating, to the point where I just gave up on reading comments after the first day because so many people just have no idea what they're looking at. They can't tell a difference between a professional player that knows how to play the game and someone that is legitimately cheating. And that's why so many people will literally just disregard when people say, oh, this guy's cheating, this guy's cheating. And then you look at it and you're like, you can tell that he's clearly not cheating. Like, it's very difficult because so little people actually understand what they're looking for. And it's nothing against those people. I'm not trying to say that no one can figure it out. I'm just saying there's a high likelihood that you could be wrong. But if you ever seen that clip of Kobe with the basketball where he's like dribbling, and it just disappears out from under? Or is that not Kobe? That's not Kobe. Hold on. Who is that? Steph Curry. That's who it was. It was Steph Curry. It was Steph Curry. He's dribbling the basketball on the court, but he goes behind him and he loses it, right? And he doesn't think that it's a fault of him because he knows his shit so well that he found a dead spot in the court and he trusted himself so much on that. But if you were to take someone that plays basketball once a week and say, hey, find the dead spot, never gonna happen, bro. It's never gonna happen. They're gonna start taking guesses. You know what I mean? That's kind of the difference. And it's not an ego thing. It's not an arrogance thing. It's genuinely just knowing your shit. And it's tough because I know a lot of people see it as arrogance. And I know a lot of people cannot tell the difference between arrogance and knowing your shit and being like confident in yourself. And it's tough. It really is, especially for someone like me that I make content for a living, talking about stuff and explaining things to a mass audience. A lot of people just get mad. And it's a hard thing. But the reality is so many people just genuinely have no idea what cheating looks like. And they'll just, that guy's got to be cheating. I mean, he's got to be cheating. I even have another video on Twitter where a guy literally just lost his shit and said I was cheating whenever it was like the most casual kill cam of all time. And he didn't even take a second to watch the kill cam. He just reported me. But either way, let's kind of take a look at this because people did not understand that this first guy in the video was cheating. And we're going to be taking a look at the second guy too. But this guy right here is a little interesting because you'll see in a second. First of all, I'm going to open up my audio here.
Do it. Go on.
Sorry.
Oh, dude.
Did you see that? Did you see what he just did? Sorry, didn't mean to do that. He snaps right to this guy. So if I go back to about 39 seconds, you can see he's over on the left, yada, yada, yada. He's looking at a wall, and then he goes to the right. And not only was he looking at the left when he goes to ADS, but he ADS is right at this guy's head. Right at that guy's head.
You see it snap straight to that guy's head?
And then the other guy.
Brother!
And you can see that it tracks the guy as he's dropping and he's shooting directly through the wall in multiple instances. And a lot of people were like, oh, that guy's not cheating. That guy's not cheating. And then watch this. So he's out here sitting on top of a bridge, just looking around in circles, and wham, tracks the guy perfectly through the wall on his head. Sadly, can't get the shot because it is through a wall. He tracks this guy as he's floating in, hitting perfectly. Did you see what happened? He shot and it flicked straight down the second the bullet flew out of his gun. And he can't hit it because the thing's right in front of him. And he hits another guy that I didn't even see. And I am playing in 4K. Like, this is not something where I should not be able to see this guy. Like, that is not how that works. This guy is just tapping random shots out in the distance. He gets a kill on a random player off in the distance. In just a second, you'll hear me say, I don't know. Oh, he's trying to go buy back his boy. So watch this. He's going to go full rage hack. Did you hear him? Or did you hear me? Yeah, hear him. I say he's going to go full rage hack. And the reason why is he's got to buy back his teammate. Now, if he wants to win, he's going to have to not just like mess around. He's got to just bam, 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 bam. Because someone else watch this. He's going to go full rage over hack right here because he has to buy his boy back and somebody else just bought. Yep. Right there. Did you see that? He jumps up on the building. Way back and somebody else just bought. He's left. This is the moment. From this moment, 248 to 249. In less than a second, he had already dropped a guy that he physically did not see before this moment. Yep.
Sick.
And there were people watching this that literally said this guy wasn't cheating right there. And he just tried to aim through a wall with no indication other than this guy really looking this way as to where the other guy would be. It doesn't lock for you, so you have to make it shot at annually. And he peeks out. Where's the guy? 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 You saw the guy right there for a split second. Hits the perfect shot.
Interesting.
Now he hit every shot if the player was like going directly towards him. He hit every shot if the player was visible the entire time. He hit every shot if there wasn't something between him and the other guy. That is cheating, bro. There is not a single player. A lot of people are like, Pie Man does that. It's like, bro, have you ever watched Pie Man? This man misses so many shots. It's actually hilarious. I have only ever spectated Pie Man. And the one time I saw that, it was him going pop, 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 hit. Like, you got to recognize stuff like that doesn't exist. There's no player that does. It's zero players that do that. Next up was the other rage hacker that I had actually ran into. And this guy, you probably already saw this video. It's got 80,000 views. This guy was a little interesting. So I'm trying to figure out what the hell's going on, right? First of all, let me go right here. All in one game. It's a battle and there's your in the slot. So I'm fighting a guy right here and I gotta just get out of here. And I shoot at that vehicle. I didn't realize the guy jumped out. I saw it on the minimap. I looked to the vehicle right there and then I hear him move inside the building. So I was gonna fight it. And then I get sniped in the middle of the gunfight. And I'm like really, really, really annoyed. So let's watch it for another second. And I'm trying to figure out where that guy was. Now, you could probably see it on the minimap for a split second if I go back. I'm going to try and see. You can see on the minimap, it's very, very difficult to see. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. But you can see right here, there's a guy right here and an arrow. Now, that's actually a little difficult to see. Don't get me wrong. I understand that. But that's the only way that I can showcase it to you because that's what I see. I see these little micro movements and I try and mark things on the map. So I see that he's right there and I keep that in mind. Now, I'm going to move up and and I'm trying to see where this guy's at. I want to see if I can get a shot on him. I'm like, damn, that guy hit a good shot. I'm not thinking about whether or not this guy's cheating or not. I'm just like, dang, that was a good shot. And then I could not find him until I see that he's ADS with a sniper. By the way, this is stupid, but I'm going to zoom in. I just want to see for myself. Bro, I dead ass hit that guy. There's no doubt in my mind. That was a headshot right there, and it just did not hit. That's actually super upsetting. So the bullet missed. Whatever. So glad I have the opportunity to experience this. I'm going to let y'all run through this and hear what I say, because right here, it's pretty interesting. Every single angle, every angle that I was going to, this guy knew. It was very obvious, and I said it immediately that he was cheating, because there's no way that I pop an angle and he instantly has it. It is a perfect instantly has it kind of thing. And this is not, again, like an arrogance thing of showcasing like, oh, I know more than you. This is just kind of giving you an idea of how I'm recognizing things in a split second. Cheating. He is balls to the wall doing his thing, because he has me. Yeah, you see how, again, I went to that window. He has no way of knowing that I would go to that window, and he was already ready to shoot. Within a second, he had already popped a shot. And had I not moved, it would have hit. He's cheating. He's got walls. And you see, again, I peeked that window right there. He goes straight to it, pops the shot. I peeked this window right here. He almost goes for it, but he doesn't because he sees that I moved back. I'm guessing that he just ADS while he was reloading, to be quite honest. And he pops a shot again right through that window. I switch to this window. He pops a shot in that window. Every single time I move, he hits it. So follow that up. What ends up happening is I'm inside this building later on, and I know it's the guy because I see him shoot, like standing on a hill, just popping shots at every player. And I'm like, oh, this is him, right? So this is what ends up happening. You can either spend your life fighting. I was trying to call out to the guy across the street, by the way, and say, hey, I don't want to fight right now because this guy cheating me, or we can try and fight this guy together. Now, one thing someone tried to point out, so you can I'll show you right here, is that on the right-hand side, right here, this is wood, which you'd imagine he could shoot through. But he does not shoot through this. That is not where I get shot. Fighting me. I also don't get shot through the door. We can try and fight this guy together. And I'll show you in a second what it actually looks like. What's our thoughts, everybody? He's sitting in that. So right there, I got shot not through that wall. You can see the bullet is under my camera. Sadly, it's a little hard to see. But I didn't get shot through there because the bullet would have been in a different angle. I got shot through the wall. So I'm going to zoom in for you. And you can see this right here would have been where it is. He moves to the right, instantly tracking a guy through a wall over there. He flicks back to me. And again, this on the right is where that little piece is. And maybe he could have shot through it, but the whole wall is still brick, right? The whole wall is still brick. So obviously he just shot me through a regular ass wall, which is crazy. I didn't even know you could do that. Okay. No. True. I mean, wow. Okay. And so it was just such an interesting situation knowing that somebody could do something like that so very easily. So very easily. It's actually insane how that was set up. But either way, I did want to run through, and I've given you like an idea of clearly I for the most part know when I'm looking at cheating and when I'm not looking at cheating. So what I wanted to do is kind of dive into some of the questions that there were from a lot of people within the community. So we're going to be taking a look at some Reddit threads here. Not usually something I would do, but I just want to take a look. I just want to take a little gander, if you will. So right here we have GG's, I guessed. Ricochet is clearly working as they wanted. Let's put it in 1080p. Such a stupid anti-cheat. So this guy on the ground, that guy's dead ass spin botting, insane. Just spinning in circles over there, popping shots, which is crazy. And I was told that Tim the Tap Man also had a video, but we're not going to be taking a look at that. This guy's name, by the way, is Fart Nugget McGee, level 15. Yeah, so like I said, a lot of cheat providers are actually detected, but there are some Russian ones that are completely free from litigation because the way the law works from US to Russia. So Activision, being a US company, cannot litigate a company that's in Russia. So you just have to hope that they're detected. And so a lot of these companies are just taking their cheats offline because they're getting cease and desist. But some of these companies are not doing that because it doesn't matter. There's nothing that Activision can do to them. So these companies, I guess, these cheat providers are moving to Russia. I think Engine Owning just did that, but they are currently detected from what I heard, so I guess it doesn't matter. But then you've got this other one that is also getting out scot-free right now, and people that have the cheats are also not getting detected, even though they're doing shit like this, which is insane. Just popping shots at random things. It's absurd. So what let's see what people have to say. Even in casual, it exists. It's not rare. Every 5 to 10 matches, I find at least one dude either seeing me through the wall or snapping to me. Jesus Christ. Now, an interesting thing that people actually get wrong is that there's not as many cheaters as you think in casual. Also saying every 5 to 10 matches is kind of funny, but I will take note of a couple of things. Yes, there are going to be cheaters within casual. I'm not saying they don't exist. They absolutely do. And there's probably going to be a few. And the reason why is because they only need 28 players to fill up the entire match. So if a cheater is, say, shadow banned and waiting for its account to get looked at, then that means they're just in that mode because it's easier to get that game started up. It takes me 5 minutes, like I said, to get into a solo match, but it takes me about 8 seconds to hop into a casual match because 1, there's no skill-based matchmaking, and 2, it only needs 28 players. So it doesn't even have to question who the players are that go into it. So that's one thing that I will take note of, but the bots look like they're cheating. And this is one that's really gonna upset people, but you're getting shit on by a bot in 99% of scenarios. That's the reality of it. Because the way that the bots work, they don't have proper vision. They don't see you. They know your location. So what they'll do a lot of the times is they'll actually look at you through a wall and just track you, waiting for you to come out. And then they have like a set amount of time before they can start shooting. But it looks like they're cheating in a lot of scenarios, and you won't be able to notice it because you're like, oh, this means it's not about, this means it's not about. They've actually done a pretty good job at not letting people know who bots are and who aren't bots. Bots, for one, will not have clan tags. That's one way that you can kind of recognize. You see a player with a clan tag, they're definitely a player. And then bots are not really prestiged. From what I've seen, bots cannot be prestiged, but they can be up to level 55. So I will take note, you might be running into cheaters, but there's a high likelihood that you're watching a bot look at you through a wall because of the way that their proper like vision doesn't actually work. So they just know your location. This whole aiming up and spinning is a different level of hacking. It's just aim assist, bro. Just get good. WTF is going on this week. A lot of rage hackers. Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying, is that we were seeing a lot of rage hackers as of recently. And I think it has to do with a lot of these Russian companies getting off scot-free. But I also think there's a lot of cheaters that are just playing indefinitely because they have a provider that's not getting detected, their account's not getting detected because of this, that, or the other thing. And my guess is that they're just making it longer. So if you're a good player, you're more likely right now to run into a cheater. If you're a bad player, you're less likely to run into cheaters. I'm not saying you're not running into cheaters. I'm just saying you're way less likely, because the cheaters that good players are going to run into are the people that are using Cronuses, the people that are using like scripts for the DS4 Windows. You're going to be running into people that are using cheats that they have set up way properly so that it looks like they're not cheating 99% of the time, and then 1% that might get caught, like that guy that I talked about earlier, and something that the AI anti-cheat can't really connect with and really properly see. So let's go ahead and check out this next clip right here. Now the game is infested with cheaters. First of all, sorry for the bad quality. In every game, a lot of cheaters are now in game again. Resurgence BR. This guy does not speak English, just to be clear. That's very, like, I assume he is not just properly illiterate. I think he just doesn't speak English as his first language, especially knowing that there's a space between the comma. Even rank, although you can kill those cheaters as long as they are engaging other player, but keep in mind that you're lucky if you kill one. My squad got wiped out because of this guy. Can't report him. Okay, let's just watch the clip. I cannot read that. Let's go 720p. Oh, where'd my audio go? So this is supposedly a cheater. He does have interesting aim. What I'll note is that it shows that there's a controller input, but that's going to be the player that's spectating, not the player that's playing. This guy, from what I can tell, is on mouse and keyboard. Also, him being level 55 with this prestige emblem, I'm not sure if that's like an OG prestige emblem or what, but I don't know if that's a proper prestige emblem. What I know is that the players that are level 55 and have all prestige emblems unlocked and like are using the, what are they called? The like old school prestige emblems, they're using an unlock tool. So that's how you know for a fact. But I'm not 100% sure what this is because I haven't actually gone through all the prestiges. This guy comes up, absolutely cheating.
Chasing back.
Yeah, immediately. That's way too fast for the information there. But you can often figure out whether or not they're cheating just by looking at their prestige emblem and their calling card, because a lot of them will have unlock tools, which means that they'll have every calling card, every weapon, every attachment, every emblem, every prestige emblem, stuff like that. So like I ran into a guy, by the way, that Truby guy that we ran into at first, his thing said top 250. And he was using a Car 98K with like this one camo and it like the things that he had also just weren't possible, just to be clear. By the way, very, also get rid of this stupid ass big dot. I don't know who is going around telling people to use this big dot, but it is terrible if you're trying to get a headshot on somebody. It makes it very difficult to see. But this guy is very clearly on mouse and keyboard. And that's something a lot of people are going to struggle to recognize as well, because mouse and keyboard players often flick. And a lot of mouse and keyboard players, yeah, this guy's very much so cheating. He just flicks straight to the left on that other guy because you can see that he has his cheats set up incorrectly because he's trying to get one guy and it flicks to another guy. So my guess is he's standing still trying to adjust that. And no, I have never cheated. The only reason I know all of this is because I've talked to a lot of cheaters in games. I have watched a lot of videos and discussed how things work with a lot of people like in the space. And these guys have ran into cheaters. They've had conversations with like top tier cheaters and stuff like that. I've seen the videos. I'm trying to think of the guy who did a video, but there was a video where he basically explained how like you can get away with cheating super easily, and it showed how it all works. So I watched videos like that. I've learned just a lot of stuff over the course of doing this as my career for the last 5-ish years. So actually 6. We just hit 6 years. Is it today? 2 days. In 2 days we hit 6 years. I don't think I really need to see any more about this, but let's kind of see what's going on. Just now, where you've been the last few years. Again, this is like the guy that reports every console player. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying console players don't cheat with like Cronus and stuff like that, but this is a number that a lot of people are going to get upset about, but the number of people that actually cheat in Call of Duty is likely around 2%. A lot of people want to say, oh, it's 50%, it's 60%. It's around 2%. Now, we don't know the Cronus numbers. We don't know the DS4 script users, but the number of people that use stuff like this, like full-blown like aimbot and shit like that, it's about 2%. I would raise the number to about 10% whenever you account for people using Cronuses, when you account for the DS4 Windows users that have like scripts and stuff like that that allow them to get extra aim assist and shit. 2% is stuff like this though. You're rarely going to see stuff like this like you see Cronuses. Cronuses are there all the time, believe it or not. You're seeing a lot of people that use it. Most people are pretty fucking dumb. I'm not gonna lie to you. They're pretty stupid when it comes to this stuff, so they're just not gonna know how to set it up. But it's a lot of console players use stuff like that, and a lot of people believe that PlayStation and Xbox don't allow you to use it. You can only use it if you have it JTagged. Just like any other cheat provider, they provide an update. You plug it into a laptop, update that thing, plug it back in, it'll work. It does take time for them to figure out the updates, but they get patched, and then the cheat developer will patch it. So it's like any other cheat, just an ongoing thing, ongoing battle. But I would not, like, stuff like this is just incredibly dumb. The cheating is not where you think it is. They've always been there. Ricochet has never had a hold on it and never will. At this point, what can they do? These companies are always a step ahead. For some reason, they seem to respect other games more than Call of Duty. I think that's a full-blown thing. I think they genuinely they look at companies that are the most money hungry and they like to say, I want to do it in this, but I also think that they hate Call of Duty the most because they just play Call of Duty the most. I think that is part of what it comes down to. Minimum Effort said they can make a more intrusive anti-cheat like the others used, but they refuse to do so and are quite happy with it. The only thing we can do is not play. Devs have been backdooring code since the game started. God, just the mass amount of misinformation that people put out there because of random shit they've heard on the internet is actually just so crazy. The developers of Call of Duty are not actively going out there and sending code out. Now, sure, there might be a guy or two that have done that in the past, but rest assured, it's not like they're doing it for like every single moment of every single day or whatever. There's probably been a guy or two that have done that, but when people are like, yeah, they've been doing this since day one and they want us to cheat and shit like that, that is all propaganda to get you to cheat. That's what that is. What is the point of cheating? We don't like cheaters either, but this post aren't necessarily appropriate for the sub. How is this? God, the fucking wars. Reddit is the cringest place on the planet, dude. Like these like neckbeard dudes in their basement are like, this is inappropriate. How dare you ask questions that make sense to ask? Why do people do this? I don't understand. Like, bruh. A lot of it is validation, something they lacked as a child from parents and peers. Absolutely. Yeah, I also think some of them have that incel F the system and big corpo mentality. Some people also just enjoy getting a kick out of making things shitty for other people. I'd be surprised if they actually do it to win. I think there's a certain amount where like, hey, if you want to make someone upset, teabag their body, shoot their body whenever you kill them, talk shit in the game. But to actively go out of your way to not give your enemy an opportunity to eliminate you because you have to use a cheat because you suck at a video game, that's the way that you want to ruin their day. You're kind of a dick for that. Like if it was an even playing field, all right. But if it's not an even playing field, you're just an asshole. Look at their movement, looting, etc. They lack the brain capacity to play video games, so they let a program handle it, which is actually incredibly sad. You're talking about those scrubs who are rage cheating. You're not accounting most of the streamers who are closet hacking and too good to hide their cheats in stream. And too good to hide their cheats in stream. And too good. What does that mean? Those are actual disgrace, taking donos and sponsors while scamming. Now, there have absolutely been people that are cheating and streaming. Like, that exists. In fact, just for the sake of it, there was a player recently that got banned, and I don't know if this guy's cheating in any capacity. I don't even know who this guy is, but I know that he was like a World Series of Warzone players, Warzone, like his shit says Warzone enthusiast, whatever. I don't know who he is, but as you can see, he got banned. You have been permanently banned from playing Call of Duty on the Black Ops 6 servers. For more information, yada, yada, yada. His name's Adrian, and I think he was on like one of the top teams. He's followed by literally the COD influencer relation team. But what people tend to forget is that Ricochet gets it wrong constantly. You can't say, and I'm not saying this guy's not cheating. I have, again, no idea who this guy is. But when you go into the comments, you see, this happened to me at the exact same time. And then if you go into another one, you're not the only one. Like a bunch of people got banned at the exact same time. And what people tend to not recognize with these things, and I'm not saying this guy's not cheating, because again, I have no idea who he is in reality. That like, I've never talked to this guy. I've never interacted with this guy. I don't watch a lot of the guys that play Rebirth. I don't even care about Warzone Ranked. But people constantly forget that if Ricochet is terrible, it will often get things wrong. There have been a series of things that have popped up over time showcasing that exactly. Bobby Poff got banned, and then they refused to apologize for banning him, but they unbanned him and said very clearly that they fucked up. Activision messed up. They had something that they were trusting, but the system itself was broken because it was actually just people sending a word. This is how bad Ricochet was in the past, that you could send a word and it would get someone banned, because the way that Ricochet worked is that it looked for a specific word on your system. So if at any point that word showed up in your active system memory, it would ban you. That's insane. They did that to Bobby Poff. They did that to a few people. All they had to do was, like, these cheat companies, they would just hop into a game at the same time. So they'd stream snipe them and just say the word, and they could get anybody banned in the game. So it happened to Bobby, it happened to Parasite, it happened to some other people. They all got banned for the same exact thing. And it was that exactly. And Call of Duty said, no, you were banned for cheating. And then they were like, oh, actually, we messed up. But they didn't ever apologize to Bobby Poff. Now, stuff like that happens. But another thing that happens is if there's any program that actively accesses your memory on your computer, that will get you banned. Now, oftentimes these will say permanent bans, but eventually someone will look at your account. You are very low priority whenever you get banned. I just want to be very clear. But we've seen it time and time again where these accounts get unbanned after like 2 years, even though it's a permanent, not a temporary ban. Another thing that happens is people lose their accounts via two-factor authentication being, what is it called? Spoofed, right? So someone will have two-factor authentication. Someone will sneak into their account because they know their phone number and they can get away with that. And it's just so many different things can happen to where people lose these accounts and then get banned, or somebody sneaks into their account and gets them banned, or they do something malicious to get them banned, and Ricochet will actively just run with it because it's not properly set up. Like, it needs so much more access and they just don't give a shit. Like there's so many things wrong with Ricochet. It's so sad. Of course it does. Like, they figured out some things to get it detecting other like cheat providers, but it's still not great. We still have a long way to go, but it's always going to be a head-to-head battle with a lot of these cheats, and there's not really much you can do about it. But what I would say is, please, for the love of God, maybe like don't go to the guy that's playing it 8 hours a day professionally, winning matches on LAN, and say, yep, that guy's cheating, because it never makes sense. And then it's like, oh, well, that guy had one bad LAN tournament. He had to be cheating in all the other ones, and this is the one that he wasn't. What? Like, there's just so many things that just don't make sense to me. I'm not taking up for streamers. I don't know, like, any of these guys. Just to be clear, in 99% of the scenarios, I don't know any of these guys that I talk about. I just look at something from someone who knows, like, their shit on what is cheating, what isn't cheating. You can clearly understand each step of the process on what someone does. And if you can't, maybe then. But if you can sit there and break down each individual frame and how someone's brain could react to that at a high level, a high capacity, then they're probably not cheating. But when you look at these guys and it's like he's looking right here and it snaps way to the side, I don't know. I mean, it is what it is. Obviously, there's going to be cheaters that are streamers too. But at the end of the day, the likelihood of it being someone that constantly has cameras on them, probably not. It's also so common that the people that are cheating get caught. It's actually kind of hilarious. People like Nitro Luke DX, who now just does rug pulls with like cryptocurrencies and shit like that. That guy, 700,000 followers over on Facebook, amassed a massive audience. And all of a sudden, one day he got caught by Ricochet in Warzone 2. And that was the end of it. He was gone. Hands up. Done. And you know what happened? Bad Boy Beeman was like, no, he's not cheating. He doesn't cheat. No. I mean, if that's not a sign, bro, like, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, it's just very clear. And when people forget about all the details along the way, like, you have to have consistency at some point. You have to just respect the consistency that you need to come up with these answers, because otherwise you're just conspiracy theories. But again, I digress. There's not much that I can do about people just not knowing things. I mean, ignorance is ignorance. You know, people are not going to know shit. It is what it is. But it's just so tough. So let's check out, would this be considered cheating? Now, there is a level bug and it often shows stuff like this, but I'm just letting you guys know ahead of time. So there is not a clear way to know if this is cheating, right? The guy's name is Sox04071318, which sounds like a throwaway account. But watching this back, he's looking, swaying. You can hear the footsteps. It's super, super quiet, but you can hear the footsteps just a hair. For y'all, it's probably a struggle, but you can hear the footsteps. To me, This is not cheating. I'm not reporting for that at any point. Watching that, I'm not thinking that guy's cheating. No, he most likely heard you and was then shooting like a bot. I don't see any evidence of cheating at all. And to be honest, he looks like not a very good player. Yeah. I did think that was a possibility. I usually watch all my kill cams and can clearly tell when my footsteps are the reason I get killed. But this guy's COD timing was insane. It wasn't really COD timing. He heard your footsteps and turned to the right. The footsteps, or in this case, foot stomps, always gives you away if the opponent had a headset. If he had one, he definitely heard you stomping toward him. There are only two directions someone can come from. What are you going to do? What are you going on about with timing? It's a narrow hallway. You didn't even shoot. He can hear you stomping around, especially if he has decent headphones on. Yeah. How is this cheating? If he had wall hacks, then he would have known exactly where you were coming from. You can clearly see that he wasn't sure until the last second when he heard you running full speed around the corner. Yeah, this is not cheating, and it's reports like this that probably clutter the already very bad anti-cheat system. If he was cheating, he wouldn't be guessing your location. He would know it, and his aim wouldn't jump around with crazy recoil. It would be very accurate and instant. Yeah, I mean, a lot of that's very valid. Absolutely. It's tough. It really is, because so many people just genuinely don't know what they're looking for. And this right here is a clear example of, one, this guy's audio is dog shit. Like, it sounds like he's just got it set up in the worst possible way. Like, I can turn this up all the way. Let's see if it sounds better, right? Let's see if it sounds better. Immediately I can hear it on the right-hand side. Immediately I can hear it. Yeah, that guy's loud as hell. I'm 100% hearing that guy. I'm 100% hearing that guy, even with like the poorly set up audio. And by the way, you should definitely change your frequencies in the game. You should do that. That is something you should do. And you should use home theater. And you should get a good headphone, a pair of headphones. Go to expel.gg, get some incredible gear. We've got controllers. Like, if you're looking for a great controller, the Expel Pro controller, immaculate, dude. And if you use code Expel, you can get 30% off anything over $269. That is the controller I use every single day. These headphones are on my website. You can also get a headphone with a mic that are impeccable. I promise I only put out like the best stuff for you guys to use, and I'll make a difference in your gameplay so that you can improve and not start thinking that Soxo4071318 is cheating. And the fact that he goes for the report is just so frustrating here, because there was clearly enough information, and saying that this is a snap is actually incredibly sad. And I'm not going to go into, or not saying that he went straight to him is incredibly sad. It just isn't accurate. This was, bro, you reported him? Lol, go back to Minecraft or play casuals. This was in casuals. Can I just say this actually may have been a bot? Because I was sitting there thinking about the name and I was like, it's just so weird. I don't know. I think it was a real player and they just heard the footsteps. But one thing I'm noticing is that this real player doesn't have a teammate on his screen, and they always show up on the screen. So I don't know why it doesn't show up in the kill cam, but I think it's a real player. Yeah, I think it was a real player. I do. I really do. Damn, that is so freaking crazy. What a thing. Why are we forced to play crossplay in pubs? Cheating is so out of control right now. Game's gone. So let's check this out real quick. Set that at 1080p. Get the audio turned up. What? Whoa, that is loud as hell. So they both died instantly, by the way. Level 19, level 20 now. He's trying to, yeah, that's crazy. Let's see what people say. Of course, opened the game this morning, dropped with the boys' very first game, a single level 35, no prestige. Yeah, you making it too easy for Activision. They could also develop or better, buy a proper anti-cheat. You're silly if you think that would work. You understand there will always be a way to bypass an anti-cheat, right? It's a billion-dollar industry. Cheat developers will always find a way to bypass no matter what anti-cheat is used or how good it is. But it does work. There are plenty of games like Apex or Fortnite that do much better than Activision's anti-cheat. They don't. There are Apex and Fortnite cheats that have not been detected since their release 4 years ago. So you say Ricochet is on par with easy anti-cheat and others. You are delusional if you really believe that. Yes, I believe so. The difference is that COD concentrates a mass of crying babies that make much more noise. That's actually hella accurate. I think we are a bunch of crybabies. I think Call of Duty, more than anything, has the worst audience there is. Like, whenever it comes to like believing people are constantly cheating and shit like that, I think that there's a lot of people that are emotionally intelligent, a lot of people that are in general intelligent. Whoa. But for the most part, I think a lot of people just get it wrong. You know, a lot of people just really mess it up and they have no idea what they're looking for. They have no idea what cheats are. And when they feel wronged, they take it out on everyone else, and everybody wants to feel like a victim. At the end of the day, I keep saying this over and over and over, but the Call of Duty audience, more than anything, wants to feel like a victim, wants to feel like they're trying harder than everybody else. They're putting in more work than anybody else, when in reality, you're just dog shit at a video game. It's a video game, bro. To wrap things up, what I will say is that cheating isn't that bad for the majority of players. If you are a decent player, you're probably running into more cheaters than you realize, or maybe not. But for the most part, the regular cheater is getting banned in 1 to 2 games. Like, that's great. That's great. But the people that are really incredibly good at hiding it, they're not getting banned. They're making it farther. They're playing in higher tier lobbies. They're fighting the players that are good. And that's why you're going to see a lot of streamers running into cheaters. That's why, well, all right, except for Nixta. That guy fucking never played in a real lobby in his life. That was not me throwing shade. That was just, you know, these Rebirth streamers, bro. I swear to God, I've never seen so many people 2-boxing their lives and then call it content, bro. That's crazy. Oh, he's going to unfollow me on Twitter. No. Yo, he knows he 2-boxes. It's chill. But my point is a lot of these guys are going to be running into cheaters like a lot, especially if they're playing ranked or something like that. But the likelihood of a lot of players that play casually, you're probably not running into as many cheaters as you think. I know I sounded like an asshole for a lot of this. I do recognize it. It's difficult. Again, it's so hard to say things and people not think you're just being an asshole, when in reality, it's just I'm trying to share the truth. And it's tough to hear. People don't want to hear it. They want to feel like the victim. They want to feel bad. And I think once we get past that and we just accept our place in the world, and whether or not we're good at a video game that at the end of the day doesn't matter, I think we'll all be a lot happier and we'll be able to play, and more people won't want to cheat, because if you're saying this guy's cheating, so I may as well cheat, that's literally how most people start cheating. That's why I'm like, stop having this mentality. That's why I'm so hard on it, is because I just hate that mentality, because I hear every time I've ever had a conversation with a cheater, that comes up every single time. Well, I cheat because this guy cheats. Like, no accountability, none, no accountability whatsoever. So hopefully we see a change. Hopefully we see constant updates keep getting pushed. Hopefully they figure out a way to detect these Russian cheats that are going pretty crazy right now. We'll see what happens. Either way, I appreciate the hell out of y'all for watching the video. I know I yapped for a long time, and I always have so much to say, and I'm sorry. I recognize that it's incredibly annoying to just listen to a guy never shut up, but I appreciate the hell out of y'all. Also, merch, please, for the love of God, we got merch in. We got so much merch. If y'all want to get me and Brookie to be able to go on a nice honeymoon, I'm just saying, expel.gg.